going on, guys? T2RX6 here, back for another third-party review, and today we're taking a look at the Toyworld Coolsville, aka Jazz, and I gotta say, right off the bat, the car is stunning, absolutely stunning. I was undecided if I wanted this guy or not. I think I pre-ordered him and canceled at least like half a dozen times because I loved the car mode, but I wasn't a huge fan of what I was seeing of the robot mode in the pictures, especially compared to your Make Toys version. So yeah, in one of my canceled pre-orders, this guy ended up shipping, and here he is. So we're going to take a close look at him today, and you know, right out of the box, like I said, the car mode is just stunning. Now, one thing that's interesting is that they didn't paint the tail lights. There's just like, it basically looks like this underneath, like a silver or white. It wasn't very good looking, so I did go ahead and paint the tail lights red. I probably have to put a second coat on because I can see it kind of coming through a little. My red's getting really old, so, you know, that's the only thing that I think is a flaw of the car mode. Things that are of interesting note, like this part here doesn't look like it lines up, and then you see like this white gap here. At first I was like, man, what am I doing wrong that this panel's not lining up properly? Everything works, but actually, if you look at the real car, that's actually how it looks, where it has that little gap there and kind of like that there. I think the stripe does continue on to there, so it's not quite as noticeable, but it is indeed there on the car. With all the other paintwork they did, I do wish that these like little intakes were also black, but something I can do on my own time. I like that these are actually grates, like you can run your fingers on them and you get a nice texture of them, but like it actually goes right through the material. If you angle it just right, you might be able to see right through it. But that's okay, because that's what it is. It's a grate, and I think it looks better than paint. The only thing that I think I don't really care about is that, and it's a small detail, but these rims actually are like a gold color, which the Make Toys did get. Now, I want to say that this whole thing is very die-cast. We have a lot of die-cast here, die-cast down here. I don't think there's any in the doors, but I could be wrong. None in the roof as far as I'm aware of. I'm pretty sure it's just plastic, and I believe the spoilers actually are die-cast. So it's very, very weighty, like a little die-cast model car. And all the paintwork on the stripes is just so beautifully executed. I just don't know how they could have not painted the tail lights on it. The black looks good. It's on there. It's really, really good in the car mode. So here we've got the Make Toys Jazz and we got the Toyworld Jazz, and I just want to point out that I like them both. This is definitely much more accurate to the Porsche that it's intended to be. This is a lot more stylized. You'll see like the front end of this is a little more bloated, where this one is really that racing front end there. Another thing that's real different about this is just cast in a white plastic, and I don't mind that so much. White's a very difficult color. But this one actually has this like really beautiful pearlescent paint job, which is fantastic all around, except for the one spot on mine that ended up being smudged, probably from the factory. That's never going to come out, but whatever, it's race damage, right? Front end of the car, you can see very similar, but again, it's just like a bloated looking car on the Make Toys version. You don't get this extra bit sticking down here. Make Toys did get the right wheel type though. And then the back is probably the biggest gripe everybody has with the Make Toys, which is these panels here. In the box, he does come with the little speaker accessories, and I don't have the instructions with me right now. I believe they just are intended to slip over the spoiler piece here on the back. I mean, they look fine if you want to put the speakers on. I don't think that I'll ever use them, but it's fine. I'm actually going to take this is mine, but I'm going to actually give it to my friend Bobby Skullface to review. So here's a test to see if Bobby actually is watching my videos. The accessories here, you get the grappling hook and like the thing that you can peg into his forearm here, which does have a little spinning spool here, so you just need to attach your own string if you want it. It does come with an alternate head, which is mouth open. Also in the package, you got his gun. Nowhere for the gun to go in this mode, and you have his missile launcher. I do wish this was on a swivel, and you'll see why later. And kind of uncharacteristic for third party. It's on a spring-loaded thing, and this thing will like flat out take out your eye if you're not careful. It ejects with a ton of force, and it's very pointy. But you know what? It also looks really good. So we already saw him with the Make Toys version. Here he is with an official MP. This is obviously the side swipe mold, just for comparison. And of course, what's a comparison without throwing him next to MP Prime? So he scales very nicely with the MP cars. So I'm not gonna lie, the transformation on this guy is a pretty big pain. It lulls you into this false sense of, hey, that's not gonna be so bad, and then ends up being pretty horrible when you're like halfway through it. Mostly in robot mode, or going from robot mode to car mode. So as we go to robot mode, it shouldn't be a big deal. But we're gonna go ahead and just kind of separate all this stuff down here just by kind of twisting the car a little. These doors are usually the biggest problem here. So we'll take that, and I guess we'll just start with the legs here, because they're the easiest to kind of piece together everything. So we're going to drop these down, we're going to open these up, and then we can take the leg piece and fold it out here. And he does squeak an awful lot. And then you want this tab on the leg to go in a tab down here. So one of these legs goes in real easy, the other one is a big pain. And rotate this down so it's out of the way of the crotch panel, because we're going to have to fix that after. Actually, should be this way. Like that. And that's one of the problems, is that the way this all moves, you sometimes get things the wrong way. So anyway, we'll do that again down here, kind of pull all this stuff out. And this one is the one that fights me a lot. But you see you have this tab here, and it has to go in the knee. Then you can push it down like that, and we can straighten that up. Take this, twist it around, and bring it like that. From here we can take this crotch piece, kind of fold it in place, and then slide it on this joint, which is not the easiest joint to move things with. Kind of have to wiggle it back and forth here, and it does take both hands. And there we go, we'll slide that in place, and now we can kind of work the legs downward. This little piece down here, you want to take this, bring it over to the side here, and plug it in, and do that on the other side. Bring this down, and plug it in. Let's raise this camera so we don't miss anything here. From here, you're going to take this piece, and you're going to swivel it up like this, while clearing the body, and bringing that through the other side. That's going to kind of finish making the hip skirts here. So now that we're done with that, we're going to go ahead and work on the legs. You take this, fold it all the way up like so. We take this piece, and you have to kind of get on this corner here, and you can kind of fold it up like that. And then this is going to fold up and into place on the leg here. We can take this, kind of collapse it down on the back here, come down to the foot, and it may be easier to go in from the inside of the leg and push this out a little if you're having trouble. So just open that flap again, bring this around, bring the toe out, and then flip the heel spur down like that to complete the foot down there. So we'll do that all again on this side. Just rotate this black piece up, come in here, push this down to start it out, bring this down, flip that piece up, flip it in, flip this around, flip the heel spur here down, and this one's real tight on mine but still movable by hand. So there we go. There we've got the actual legs on this guy. Whew, squeaky. And everybody says Fans Toy squeaks bad. So let's come to the top of the car here. And I always forget if we have to turn things around or not. We'll figure that out as we get there. From here, kind of flip this thing down and flip these little black pieces in, like so. We're going to take these, and this is the hardest part because the way these two black pieces come together, it leaves very, very, very little room. So, and there's also a tab right here against this body piece and this. So the transformation of these arms could have gone a little smoother, and I feel like they tab in too much. Which makes them ridiculously difficult to transform on camera. There we go. You kind of gotta get the hand up, and then you gotta get these black pieces to slide across each other. There's no other way to do it. Once you have one out, the second one goes super simplistically. So just leave that like this. We're going to pull this piece, well, let's get this all situated down here. It's going to come like that, and we're going to take the head and bring it through the silver bit here, which does take a little bit of working the various joints that make up the head. So you can slide it back through here. This is gonna cause this panel to open, which is a flaw, but we'll get to that when we get to that. Once you have that through, go ahead and kind of work the neck joint until you can get the head to go through the hole here and up the other side. Now I can really work on cleaning everything up. So this is going to come down like this, and the silver piece is going to peg into the side of this black piece up here on both sides. We're going to take this piece, which usually takes another tool. Shout out to the ROC guys for providing a pretty handy tool. Pop that silver piece down and bring this black piece down, and this is one of those pieces that interlocks together. So flip that open like that. So now that we have this in place, this is going to end up letting us get the black piece in place. And I think when I said flip these in, I flipped them the wrong way. I think I need them flipped out. It's hard to remember where all these little pieces are supposed to end up going, but it should be like this, because what's going to happen is this piece comes down and then you peg these little black pieces right into them. Also at the same time, you can bring this chest piece forward and then slide it in and just really get everything locked down here. So coming to the top part here, we're going to take the arms here, pull them out and rotate them up on this joint and bring it down. So we'll do that again. Pull them out, rotate them up on this joint, and fold the shoulder down. The hands just pop out of here, which is, well, we'll get to that after. And then from here you can fold these in if you want, or you can leave them out. I think when the mold was made, it doesn't feel like it was designed to have no wings. I feel like the no wings came later on, and they're on a little joint here so you can angle. So if you want the angled look, you certainly can. And we'll go ahead and rotate the head just like so. There we got our Jazz. So here we've got him in his robot mode, and you don't have to have the wings out. I do like the wings. One of the things I think is a problem is you got this flap on the back here. Though notably it's not quite as bad as it tends to look in pictures. You can put it more back. Now this back windshield here is just on this sliding joint, and I think when they initially designed this figure, they may have designed it without the wings being hidden away in mind, and then saw people like them with the wings hidden away. If you don't want the wings, you just kind of slide this out, and then you can take these and you can kind of work them on this joint, just kind of like that, and then you just kind of push the roof in as far as you can. It's gonna stick out a little, it looks like that, but you can have the wingless Jazz if you choose. So a quick zoom in on the face here. I do think they did a really nice job with the face sculpt here. It definitely feels very Jazz-like to me. Zooming back out, I think one of the gripes I had when I saw this before is I feel like this was kind of unnecessary or too long. So I didn't really like it. And then coming down here, the way the ankle tilts work, where the silver piece just kind of goes in and out, is not necessarily my favorite thing. But in most cases, it does end up looking just fine. I mean, there is a little angle to the shoes, but when he's standing there, it's a lot harder to notice, in my opinion. Let's talk articulation. The head is on a ball joint here, and then thanks to the way that these panels work, you can get a little extra up and down on there. I will say that it would have been nice if all this stuff kind of locked a little nicer somehow, but it doesn't fall through or anything. It comes undone pretty easily. The arms are on this hinge here, and then you can hinge them down there for, I don't know what reason you'd want to do that, but you can. You have super stiff bicep swivel. You have a wrist rotation here, which has all the fingers jointed together, and then you have a thumb on a ball joint. I do think that this is a problem. I don't know why they didn't just put a door here that opens and can slide things in and out of. It seems like that would be an easy option to do. And I'm just going to put these fists right back to putting them away. But, I mean, I feel like you could have done something to hide that a little better, or some kind of spring-loaded piece that can go in and out. I don't know. I don't like that part. The waist does have waist articulation, no like ab crunch or anything down there. It's just a friction jointed forward and back. This hip skirt piece does one thing I don't like, which is that both sides are on one thing, so you can't have one leg up without the other looking weird. But you get plenty of range of motion out of that. Squeaky as all heck though. The thigh swivel, the knee, a knee swivel. It's a double jointed knee, so you get a great range of motion out of it. And then you already saw that this whole piece can rotate around to give you an ankle tilt. So plenty of range of motion to kind of get things, but you know, the more extreme your ankle tilt gets, the worse that these silver pieces at the bottom end up looking. So talking about his accessories, obviously it's just a peg. Pegs in just fine. I never tried the grappling hook, but I think it pegs in on the hands. I'm not 100% certain of that. This missile, this is what bothers me. So you look for the peg hole and you can't find it, but what you actually have to do is you take this little tab here and you just kind of slot this on here, and it holds on fine. It doesn't like fall off real easy without hitting it, but aside from it being just straight like that, you can't like angle it around to whatever makes the most sense to you. So I do think that's a little bit of a flaw. So here he is sitting next to the Make Toys Jazz, and I gotta say, the Make Toys Jazz is beautiful. It looks very much like you saw on the screen, and as a result, it made me feel like this guy was just too tall. Like this chest didn't really make much sense to me, and I thought it was a pass on robot mode. And by all rights, this Jazz is really nice. The compressing chest is really cool. This guy doesn't have the compressing chest. One thing I think this guy does better though is that instead of having this, you know, metallic plastic, they've actually gone ahead and painted it metal, metallic silver I should say, and I think that's a really smart decision. I think it makes it really smart. But when you stand these guys next to each other, the Make Toys one still looks like the better Jazz, at least to me. Your mileage may vary, but I just feel like this is representative of what you saw in the cartoon. And that's great, except when you start throwing the official MPs into the mix. So let's take these guys and let's separate them a little, and let's throw Prowl in here. Now, as soon as I started throwing in the other MPs here, I started feeling a little bit different. I still feel like the Toyworld one is a little bit tall. He's taller than Prowl here, But Proud doesn't have a compressing chest gimmick here, which then ends up making this one look really cartoon, and this is looking more like an actual MP toy to me. Let's throw another one in here. Here's Wheeljack. And again, I mean, still a little bit tall on Jazz, but I think it's okay to have some different heights amongst your robots if they're not all the same thing. So I think that looks okay. And again, you know, when you factor in all this extra kibble and stuff, the like cartoon animation model that this guy has going on doesn't really fit the MP shelf as much as, you know, at least my brain originally thought it did. You may prefer this one, and I still, like I said, still a fantastic looking Jazz, and he's not going anywhere from my collection. But I was really surprised to come to the conclusion I actually think that the Toyworld one is a more appropriate masterpiece Jazz than the Make Toys. So I figured for good measure, we'll go ahead and we'll throw in Ironhide here, and you know, as long as the Carbot is smaller than Ironhide, then I'm okay with it. And finally, we have the MP Prime here, and again, I really don't have anything wrong to say with that scale. I think, like, you know, even though there's different heights going on here, I think they all look really, really good together. So let's see if we can get this guy transformed back to his vehicle mode without really infuriating ourselves and get out of here. We're going to start by taking this black piece, and once again, you have to fold them together, and then when you get to the final piece, you'll fold them up. Take this, flip it in, and fold it up. You'll see how this just like lulls you into this like false sense of security here. Like everything's just gonna be okay. Take the silver piece here, kind of unplug it from the wheels to get all this out. Take this piece and fold the doors out. We can go ahead and fold the windows up just to have that done. We're gonna take the head back through this panel here, which again you have to kind of mess around with the joint here until you get the head to just kind of fit through. It does take a little bit of doing, and take it and fold it all the way to the back just like so, and I believe you can have it down. I don't remember, it's always questionable up until the very end. We can go ahead and fold this panel down, and you can kind of fold that in place, though it's probably going to come out numerous times while we're trying. Make sure your thumb is folded in, and you can fold the hand in like so. And from here, this is where I always kind of forget things. I believe we take this up like this, we fold this down, and we push this in, and then let's see, when this comes around, yep, it's going to be just like that. We're going to take it and fold that in place there, securing that in place to be the nightmare that we're going to have to deal with when we ever try to take them back to robot mode. Again, take this, flip it up, flip this piece down, compress it, compress that in, flip this whole thing around just like so, and then squeeze. May have to actually bring this one back out, unfortunately. Gosh, it's so hard to get that piece out of there. But once we have this in position, then you can kind of simultaneously, and this is why it's a pain in the butt, things could have been engineered at least a little bit nicer. Fold them down and in place. So from there it's not so bad, and then this thing kind of folds up like this, and we take these black panels, and you can fold them up. You don't really have to right now. We'll leave them down just because I feel like sometimes it's easier to see what's going on. We can take these, just kind of hover them to the sides, and we'll come to the bottom piece here. So this, we're going to take this black piece here, and we're going to bring it down and around to the bottom little slot here, and make sure it clears those black pieces. Take this, and I believe we fold it in just like this. This is one of those pieces that if it's not the right way, it's not going to go into car mode, and we'll see it when we get there. So just for now, leave it like that. Coming down to the feet, let's go ahead, fold the exhaust pipes in, take the toe, fold it up and put it in place like that. Take this piece down, silver piece, and then fold it in half there, just like that. Like, see, all false sense of security right now. You're like, oh, none of this is all that bad. So take that, fold it up. Let's not forget to do this. We're gonna take these pieces here and slide this piece all the way down, and it has to go down because it's only gonna fit one way. So just kind of keep rotating it until it rocks upside down here. Take the legs, try to work around these joints here and fold them up like this. So take these around, fold it down, and you can see that like crotch panel is right behind there. From here, this is where we can see if we've messed this up or done it right. I believe, I can't really tell which way, if I've done it right or wrong. I think I've done it wrong. I think we want it to be like this, actually, flipped around this way with these pieces up, and so these will be flat and these will be kind of out like that. We'll see if we get it working or not when we get there, but I'm pretty sure it's like that. From here, each of these legs, unpeg this thing and kind of work it all the way back like this, and then fold the leg so it kind of looks like that inside there. And this is why you need the crotch piece the other way, because the way this all squishes up, that skinny piece needs to be down to make sure we have it in position. So take this, do the same thing again, fold it in like this, and you can see the back end coming together. Great. That's at least what I said the first time I messed with it, trying to get it there. And we can peg all this stuff together. Now's a good time to work on pegging the whole back end together. It's easier said than done sometimes. So we got that, and I believe these are right. And then so what you want to do, remember that the silver piece needs to be on the hands here. You want to telescope the body and keep those black pieces down. They're by far the hardest part to work with on this thing. I think you can have the flat side up like so. And you want to kind of collapse all of this together, and you can see it's a very tight space here. We want to take the head here and kind of bring it all the way tucked in like that we can. And you'll know if you have it right, because you should still be able to... Oh no, what did we do wrong? There we go. The roof of the car should still be able to compress down. So you're going to bring all this in, and the roof will compress into the crotch if you've got it correct. From here, kind of bring this down, and you're going to take the roof up a little, kind of push it forward, and then secure it all with the roof, which, if any of the stuff is out of place here, prevents it all from securing together. It's really kind of nasty the way that works. Like, it would have been nice if you could just slide all these things into the roof, but it doesn't work that way. But once you get it, it'll clip in. It should be relatively seamless. When you got that, you know you can take these little black pieces and fold them in place. And now we just have to deal with the nightmare doors. So we take this, and this is probably the hardest part of the little door. See that tab there? It needs to go into that little hole, and you think that that would be super easy, but somehow it fights you to the bitter end. But once you have it in, you should be able to squeeze the door closed, and that should hopefully line up with the roof on the side here, because it tabs into the roof back here in the front. So to the other side, get this piece in without knocking over every light that is lighting up your workspace here. There we go. Bring this in, kind of squeeze the door to clip this together, and clip the roof down. Whew, that's the least painful I've ever had it. And flip that up, and we got him in car mode. So let's go over to final thoughts with this guy. Is it worth trading out your Make Toys for the Toyworld? Well, I don't know. I think this guy has the height scaled down, but this guy has that more MP car aesthetic. If you like the cartoon look, which has kind of been ushered in with the MP Inferno and Shockwave and MP Megatron, then honestly I think this guy's probably going to be more up your alley. But if you're like me and you like the, stylized G1 cartoon characters that really the original MPs like this Wheeljack and Prowl are, I think the Toyworld one is better. Better enough to update? I don't know. For me it is. I really love the realistic car mode, which just flat out blows the Make Toys one out of water. I really thought that this guy was just going to sit on my shelf in the alt mode because it just looks so good. But honestly, really with all this the wide kibble and everything of the original MP cars, I kind of think I like the Toyworld one better. So I hope that helps you guys make your decision on your Jazz for your collection. I can say I was very surprised that I end up liking this Toyworld Jazz way more than I had originally expected. So this is T2RX6. I hope you guys enjoyed the review, and I'll see you next time.